Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another session of the Athari Club. We find our party just about to enter the Wayland residence. They've arrived, their vehicle has crashed out, and now they're trying to decide what exactly to do. You'll see that during this episode, we discover a lot about ourselves as game masters and role players while we're learning this whole streaming business. Some of our GM descriptions tend to be repetitive, I've noticed. Shame on me. And some of our players tend to talk over each other, which is so unprofessional. We'll deal with it and we'll get much better as this goes along. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoy. Okay. And everybody, we're back. Sorry about the slight pause. It was definitely needed for a comfort break for everyone involved.
We're all getting old, that's what the problem is.
That is a problem. You are in the lounge now. You've been ushered off to the side. And basically, as you enter the first floor, the lounge is right next to there's in front of you, there's a set of double doors. And then the lounge is just off to the side as well as a set of double doors. And I'll actually wind up giving you a map for that very shortly. However, for our purposes...
Everyone else, although their feet are wet, mine are actually the only ones that are muddy. And I realise that's a bit of a giveaway. I've just trampled through their shrubbery.
So the elderly gentleman notices, but there is a sort of horsehair mat in front of the door that you're able to wipe off pretty well.
Yeah. Probably a boot scraper.
Yeah, and absolutely.
That's all right, yeah.
And so the lounge itself is fairly bright, even though outside it's starting to rain pretty well, and that's largely because it is painted. It's painted fairly in white colors. It's very not cream or eggshell or anything. It's a fairly bright set of colors. There are dark wood lines running through the different walls where the wood is, and there's a couple of beams as well that are carved ornately. Actually, ornately is the wrong word. The word opulence not quite right either, in that you can tell quality, but it's not extravagant. It's just quality. And you notice that in everything. The couches that you see in here are also they're leather bound, and but they've been
Chestermans.
I'm sorry?
Chestermans.
Could be. They are of a light color as well. And you see that there are also 5 large portraits around the room. There's one, the largest one is above a fireplace that has a lady standing in a white ball gown. And then you see another one that has, by the way, you recognize the same face as on the bust, is standing next to that same lady. And then you have just the man in a well-tailored suit. And then you also see the man, and there's a 9-year-old dark-haired female child next to him, probably looks like him enough, and the lady. And then you also see the last one is probably that child grown, wearing gowns. You think probably it looks like Oxford. One of the schools, you're not sure which one immediately. And she's holding her diploma. A piano occupies the northwest corner of the room. There's some sheet music on it. You see there's a chandelier in the center of the ceiling. There's a coffee table. A recently lit cigar sits on one of the ashtrays on that coffee table.
Is this still alive?
There is a fire in the fireplace, and it is lit and burning, and has been going for a while.
And yet there was no smoke coming from the chimneys.
Huh. Look who didn't have to make her int check. And So let's see here. Also on the mantelpiece, you see an ornate French Empire-style mantel clock. 2 candlesticks. The clock faces to the left of the figure of Minerva, on the right side, the Roman goddess of wisdom, medicine, strategy, trade, that type of thing. And I need a spot hidden from everyone again. And this may be something that comes up fairly often in this game.
Oh dear.
No.
Thankfully, there's enough of you that odds are someone makes it.
Yes. I
Nope.
need a regular.
Hard. Yes, hard.
Hard.
I think John's got some cheating software.
Okay. So for those who pass that, you notice that the cigar that's sitting there, smoldering, it's not appearing to... You have to sort of see it over time, but it's not like it's shrinking at the rate that it should. If that seems weird. But the other thing, for those, who was the hard success?
Me.
Yeah. As you are poking around the room, you notice that on the tie, let me see here if I can get this correctly, of the bust itself, and I'll do this because I don't want you to see anything else, there is a mark that looks like this.
I think I've had too much to drink from the car to the lounge because that just looks phallic.
Everything looks phallic to you, Rob.
Hell yeah.
It's very telling.
Yes, it is. So that's in the tie, and we will. I'll bring it back, but feel free to put that in your notes. So as you're looking at these various things, the door opens, and a lady walks into the room. She looks like she's in her 50s as well, probably early 50s. She's wearing a very traditional maid's outfit. When I say maid, we all jump to French maid outfits, but no, it's a longer black dress that does have trim.
Just you.
No, maybe it's just me and Rob that think that way. And she comes into the room, does a little slight bow, and says, "Is there anything I can get you?"
This is more tea.
Oh, thank you.
Tea?
Tea, please.
Tea?
You're very welcome. The weather outside is
very,
atrocious.
very good.
And a rum, maybe?
I'm sorry. There's no alcohol.
What?
No, it's a dry house.
Down more. Do I need to turn it down more, Rob?
No.
Oh, it's
No,
good.
you need to turn the alcohol up.
Aha! So he says,
In
"I'm
this
sorry.
weather?"
We have no alcohol in this house at this point."
Tea's
How come?
more than appropriate.
Well, the master he asked that we remove all of it during his operation.
Okay, so where did you move it to?
I'm sorry. We had a large dinner party, and what was left we had to go with the people who came. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this bothers you, but I'm glad to get the tea, coffee.
Sorry, did you say the master's operation?
Yes.
Is he,
So,
I wasn't aware that he was ill.
Oh no. He's been spending quite a bit of time preparing himself for a ritual.
Interesting.
do tell me more.
I truly don't know much more about it, but it's been a very strict regime. He spends a lot of time in his studying. We don't see much of him.
Has this had an impact on him physically? Has he perhaps lost weight, gained weight, perhaps worked out a little more to toughen his body? these sorts of things? Have you noticed?
You see her.
I'm
Sort
happy
of.
to persuade her that we're
Does he
that we're
get strung
friendly if
out by the way
necessary.
he
Okay.
looks?
Make a persuade roll.
How does the master actually go by nowadays? Is it still master or is it madam?
Not that
Yep.
type of operation.
Successful.
Does he
roll.
get, successful. Does he get strung out by the way
she
he looks?
appears to accept you as a friendly figure.
I'll turn on all of my charm as much as possible and try to persuade her to give me as much information as possible. By the way, I would have made both a charm or a persuade roll.
Well, the master's been at it for a while. I mean, we're
Indeed.
in fact,
So,
intent is to celebrate tonight the going ahead with the ritual.
Oh, wow.
Excellent. That's marvellous. We've arrived just in time then.
There's a dinner party later, so
Would
I'm
it
sure
be-
you'll be invited. I'm sure.
so what?
So they've taken the just checking. They've taken the letter of introduction and
No, you haven't provided that yet.
Right.
Well,
well, if you would like to, so shall we do that now then?
Well, we're waiting for him to arrive.
Right. We're waiting for the master to.
Yeah, and you already met my husband. Jeremiah Linwood. My husband is the butler, serves here. I'm Rosemary Linwood.
Rosemary, it's so good to meet you. It really is.
I'm also the cook. I'll be providing dinner, so hopefully
Goodness.
you'll be staying for this.
You wear many skirts, madam. That is incredible.
She's sort of broken that third wall of between.
I'm
just
sorry, I'm still
servant-
gazing her down because of the alcohol thing.
Yes, because of the charm being put upon her by this handsome, wealthy gentleman. Even though she's in her 50s and happily married forever, it's still a bit of a fun experience to be treated as a part of everything.
James,
Says, I should go get the tea.
Did you pour me a drink?
Yes.
James pulls a
that
hip
guy?
flask out of his pocket and hands it over to John. Here, have a nip of that.
Do you wait until she leaves to do that? Or
Yes.
Okay.
You said she'd
Oh,
gone to
go on.
fetch the tea.
so she goes to fetch the tea, and you're able to have.
Is that big?
There's a full bottle over there.
Okay, we might have to hit that one
You
up.
might want to top it up.
So if anyone's wondering, they're
Trust me to
hitting
do that.
Fireball because that's just what they're doing. And I'm on a nice O-band.
It's fine. I'm driving.
Did you know that you've got a lovely
Unfortunately, that's
Labrador
our
rug
drink.
under the table?
Of course, there's a warm Labrador.
Toes very nice.
I needed you to clocks to him and
Take-
holding.
Take your
No,
shoes
my
off.
word.
There.
So,
So
Everyone's talking at once.
you are now sitting in the lounge. You're alone. She is left to go get the
tea.
tea. Is there anything you'd like to discuss among yourselves before she comes back?
yes. What house doesn't have alcohol? This is deeply sexually. I mean, I can remember a time where every master's house had a cottage or an outhouse that had what is that plastic
Well,
thing? A distillery
That's it.
attached to it.
A fine cellar would be
Yeah.
for a house this size.
And also,
Yeah.
why is this ritual?
Well, that's the question.
That is a very good question. He's had to prepare many days for it.
And I didn't have to think hard about the question, but it's a very good one apparently.
Well, of course, we know that he's been very much affected by the death of his
His wife.
Absolutely.
And what does this book do?
Has been interested in
Pour it straight, mate.
a ritual for communicating with the dead. I believe,
Pour it in.
wasn't it?
And he wanted the book,
Because
did
of
he
the-
not?
Not the book we've got.
No, a different
No,
book.
different one.
Well,
yeah.
I was in search, if you remember right, it was a Bremeline. That's the something
The
of
Book
a
of a
Bremeline,
Bremeline,
yeah, that he had been searching for, that the Athari Club had become aware of. So he had been seeking this book, and then he's gone silent, and has been gone silent for close to a year.
What's that book that we found?
Oh, so it's just a diary.
Just a diary.
Okay.
So the book that he found is one with human skin, isn't it? Is that the
You no.
Necronomicon type stuff?
No.
Do we know anything about the book that he
Let's put it
found?
this way: any kind of
That who
ritual
found?
that touches the
That he found.
Who's he?
touches the
master.
the supernatural is
You've
probably a
heard
bad
the name of
idea.
it, the Book of Abrimaline.
Okay,
I'm
do we
very
know
much
what
I'm very
it's-
much not in favour.
what it's for, what it's
The
Rituals.
grimoire. Is it a
a
grimoire?
prelude to. Do we
Rituals
know
can be
Absolutely.
purifying
The
and
type
positive
of-
experiences, but I fear that
This is actually a really
that is
good
not
discussion
what we've got
point.
here.
Can we try and work out
Are there books
what
in this
the
room?
ritual is based on the book, the top?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what do I need to do?
So you don't need to do much
Oh, thank
because, thankfully, I will assume that when you had heard about the Book of Abrimaline, before you left the Athari Club, you might have taken a quick look at
God, how
what
long?
that was about.
Well, I believe we'd gone to the library.
You
both,
did.
John and
You did,
myself
yeah.
to.
Specifically. So
Yes.
Is that what we went there for?
It was.
what we will say
Oh, I
is,
thought we were checking him out.
I'm not sure what you went there for, but that was definitely why I went.
so Lynette and Henry, you both, and you're looking at, because you looked up this particular thing, you've heard of this Book of Abrimaline, 15th century grimoire, written by Abraham of Worms, 1858, a Jew from Worms, Germany. The focus of the book is a long and complex ritual known as the Abrimaline operation, named after Abrimaline the mage, who taught it to Abraham. It allows magicians to contact their holy guardian angel.
Well,
So why
the fact that she called it an operation and that it is called
Interesting.
the Abrimaline operation is a little indicative, I would say.
Okay, so can we deduce what's the purpose of the ritual? And without second guessing, why would he want to do it? What does he need to do it? I'm kind of moving the secure blanket like this, or at least stroking it, going, and what does he need from it?
You feel a little pulse from.
Nice.
You feel a pulse from the casket.
Okay, is it
Just a little-
regular?
Just one little pulse.
It's been delivered.
It's being delivered.
Oh.
Well,
So
does that mean
what we're going to do right now, I apologize everyone, but we're going to pause because our food is being delivered, and very rapidly we'll get back.
The last thing you need is to watch these people eating.
That's the
No,
last.
no. I'm sure that we can carry through and
Oh.
and try.
Thank you very much. We'll see you in just a minute. Please stay
Pizza.
tuned. Hello, welcome back. So we just finished stuffing our faces with pizza and wings and things like that because that's what happens. But we are ready to jump back into it. Your set of investigators find themselves in the house of a older member of the Athari Club who hasn't spoken to the club in a long time. They were sent out to check on him, and things are a little bit weird, and they're figuring that out. Okay, you guys still find yourself in the lounge. You have found, through your sort of look around, you saw some pictures, and you're sort of putting together sort of the history of the family there a little bit. You knew that the wife had passed, and you knew that he had raised his daughter, and so you saw the different pictures around with the lady and the guy and the lady, and then the guy by himself, and the guy with the... It's fairly obvious, sort of the history of the family. And you also searched around the room, and you saw the bust, which is interesting that it has a carving on its tie.
Oh, that type of bust. Sorry.
Now, by the way,
Steady.
it was facing outwards from the room, out the window, and not inwards as you would sort of expect of a bust.
Why would that be?
Interesting question. And your tea is returned. So, Rosemary,
I shake the hip flask and I go, thank you very much.
do you really?
I ain't going to need it back.
She goes, We don't want alcohol in the house.
It's not alcohol, it's cough syrup.
Oh, okay. Very, very good.
Thank you.
Persuasion.
Get ready for this immense roll, guys. You know what's going to happen.
For some reason, I get the impression you're not the most diplomatic person in the world.
In
But
life,
me, I got a 6!
well done.
Sorry, I mean, goodness gracious.
So,
I managed to succeed that roll with plenty.
so Rosemary, by the way, you saw how she fell rapidly under Henry's charms. She appears fairly credulous. And so when you
Hang
say
on, I need
that...
to Google that.
Yeah, so don't celebrate too much. She's
So
gullible.
big words for Rob, who's playing John, are sometimes difficulty. So he's good with that.
Right.
So she's credulous, and she just swallows that right down and goes, "Oh, okay," and carries on serving you guys your tea. And
Before you go, Rosemary,
yes,
Henry is really well endowed.
I'm sorry.
I
You've
have a
been
huge.
drinking? No.
I have a huge endowment. I have a.
Oh, is that what you meant? Sorry. Sorry.
Yes.
I am quite fortunate in
One
that.
now knows the meaning behind the word.
Aha, aha, aha. She says, very interesting. So, is there anything else I can get you? We have notified the master, and he should be with you shortly.
No, thank you. That would be fine.
That's very kind.
Good.
Yes.
And so she leaves the room. She had brought in a trolley, by the way, and she leaves the trolley there, and on it is a porcelain teapot, large enough that it's would have all your tea, and it has the full service cream, sugars. There's actually a small pot of honey, and there are the small silver spoons for the stirring as necessary, and it smells slightly of chamomile as you pour it.
I'm wondering if our apothecary could maybe take an
Smells
inspection of
smells
this.
slightly of chemicals, you said.
Chamomile.
Chamomile.
Oh, chamomile.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Not camel.
I'm going to have a
Not
bit of a
camels.
This is
sniff.
one of the problems we have with
See
this
if I notice anything unusual with it.
Okay.
transatlantic connectivity.
Give me your
on language.
apothecary.
Go on,
Roll.
go on, go on,
Go on, go on, go on.
We used to use that for fixing spots
There's a
and herpes.
apothecary.
Yes.
What's an
Didn't
apothecary
work.
roll?
What I know.
So probably be
So
under
we've got chemistry.
science.
I've got chemistry.
There, take that.
So, okay, so I've got my chemistry roll is at 95%.
So,
You can roll it with dice because that's not our audience.
Sit down. Got the thingy up, have you?
Yeah.
That's 10 sides, isn't it? 86
Out of.
out of.
40?
Oh shit! I'm 80.
Ah,
No, sorry, no, 95.
95.
95. Yeah.
So it does smell like English breakfast tea. It's been infused with chamomile and maybe a couple of other herbs
Oh,
that
great.
are very much like that. And you think it's all about soothing.
Right, so it's soothing, but there's nothing
No,
boring.
no, you're not picking up anything
No
that looks like
almonds.
you
No
know.
alarming flavors.
No
Sense.
alarming things. But no, you have gotten that.
yeah, okay. I'm interested in the fire now that
Okay.
Lynette has pointed out the fact that there's a fire in here that seems to have been burning for a long time, and yet there was no smoke coming from the chimney.
Very interesting.
I'm going to inspect this fire and see what I can
Okay.
see.
So the fire itself is crackling away.
Mhm.
There are 3 or 4 logs across there. You've now been in the room possibly 20-ish minutes with small talk and tea and everything else. And as much as you're watching the flames dance,
You've got a lot of things going for you.
you're not seeing the logs going down as much as you would expect. It seems to be there's the sparks that go up. There's a little crackle. There's bluish flames in the center, and then there's the same crackle and pop, and you're like, wait wait a second. Is there a pattern? Not quite. The moment you think there's a pattern, there isn't.
It is giving off heat, though, isn't it?
It is giving off heat.
This fire is most peculiar, gentlemen.
As is the flame on the lit cigar.
Which has not gone down, but the moment you start thinking that,
Are we in
when
a,
you look back, it's dropped ash.
are we in a time warp?
Oh.
Do we need to take a step to the left?
With your hands on your hips.
Mostly
You bring your knees in tight. Then it's pelvic through. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the housekeeper goes, why,
I would like to
I can remember.
see if
No, I can remember reading.
tell the housekeeper that I'd like to apologise for a moment. That I need to step out and fetch something from our vehicle. What I will then do is I will then compare my pocket watch with... Who has a pocket watch? Who else has a watch? Good. I will compare my pocket watch with James's just to make sure that our times are both
Okay.
correct.
So,
And then I will...
prior to this set of events,
Yeah.
yes,
Pocket watches are a thing.
Jeremiah Linwood does step back. Absolutely, clockwork is phenomenal.
Yeah.
In fact, the clockwork in this time period can do more than you would expect. There are people with clockwork birds that will perch on their shoulders, that they can send a message. Amazing things.
I heard of an owl
Calculating
once,
machines.
never saw it.
Different
There are
engines.
differencing machines, and there are some really
Okay.
amazing things done with
So I
steam
really
and
need to have a
clockwork.
word with my patron, then, don't I?
So, as you're preparing you're in the room. There's no one with you. As you're preparing to step out, in steps the elder gentleman who you know now as Jeremiah because his wife mentioned that. Says, is there anything I can provide?
No, thank you. I think we are well set.
Oh, wasn't there that thing you need to fetch from the car?
Allow me to step out for a moment. I will be back shortly.
You have a means of conveyance, close. I just saw you approach by foot.
Sadly, our conveyance is damaged, and we would appreciate at some point arranging for an engineer to take a look at it.
We
run off the
we
road.
have a carriage house
Yes,
ourselves. It could be that if you might find something there that would help.
Well, that would be most excellent. Thank you, Jeremiah.
If you would give me a few moments, I will head back to the vehicle very shortly.
Very good.
So what I'll do is I'll step out the front door,
Okay.
crunch off up the drive,
Okay.
until I'm enough out of sight of the house that I think
Do you
that's
remember the
yep
Yep.
layout?
to the south,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll wait. I'll just wait.
The front doors.
I'll literally
Yes.
flip open my watch, time myself for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So make sure, and obviously I took a note of the time as I was leaving.
You
What
guys
I'll then do is
synchronized ahead of time.
Yep. Then what I'll do then is I'll walk back.
Okay.
I'll knock on the door and let myself in.
Okay.
And I'll walk through, and then we'll flip open the watches and we'll just compare them.
I'm going to do exactly the same.
by the way,
I'm going not with the pocket watch. I'm going to follow because that's what everybody expects me to do because
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
his henchman. Okay. But whilst I'm actually out there, I've got my own agenda of the pulsing beacon.
It only pulsed
Something like
once.
that. Yeah, once is more than it had done since we were transporting it that I know of.
Which pulsing
So-
thing?
You
Yes,
don't need to know.
you don't know.
Yeah,
You don't need to know.
it's the throbbing between my legs, sir. Would you like to sort it for me?
Get
Only on
you can
private
get
insurance.
cream for that, I believe.
Yes. Anyway, so
Yeah, chamomile.
the two of you step out. You
Yeah.
loiter and do as you must to establish a time. When you come back, so you can still see there's the rounded road that goes around the entire house. And you can see off to, as you're looking back at the house, off to your left, that appears to be the carriage house. You can see there's an opening in it, and you can see that there's a old-fashioned carriage, not a steam carriage, that's sitting inside, but you don't see any horses immediately, or stalls for them, so you're not quite sure how that goes. And then you can't see directly behind the house, but you can see off to the right of the house. It looks like what would be possibly a mausoleum, or sort of a family. The shape of it appears to be like such, and that there's a tall stone angel perched across the top of it. Okay.
I'm going to close my eyes.
So
And then I'm going to look at the
while-
stone angel.
While
Again.
Henry and John...
Does it move?
No,
Okay.
it's not.
Sorry, while Henry and John have gone up,
Okay.
I'm going to tear a piece of paper from my notebook
Okay.
and throw it on the fire and see what happens.
Okay. This is actually very interesting. So what happens is you tear the paper, you walk over towards the fire, chuck it in, and it falls onto the first log and goes straight to the floor. It doesn't go, it's like it went right through the log. And then, the moment you go, what? It's now on top of the log and on fire.
It's a bit extreme.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an illusion?
Yeah. Madam of the house.
Some sort of illusion, but not a perfect illusion.
It's just
But-
overly too friendly.
Yes,
It's an illusion.
It's
of-
almost as if it's being controlled by something or someone.
Yes.
But
But
not
even
straight
I
away.
lied to her and she
Takes a little while to
believe
catch
it.
up.
Do you say this out loud, or what are you're thinking this?
No, well, I'm
Oh
thinking
my
it.
God.
Yeah.
James is going to drop them
Okay.
all in the Oh no, we're not there.
The
I'm
fire
thinking-
seems
and the reason I'm not saying it is simply because of the way it sort of corrects itself.
yeah.
Makes me think that there's
Let's try and catch up.
yeah.
As you think that, it almost seems like the fire is moving faster, and you see that the wood is burning, and it looks, if possible, more real than it did a couple of minutes ago.
Did you
Can you,
drink the
can
tea?
you
Did you drink the tea?
I'm going to lean in and try and put my hands under where the fire is. Is it like a stove?
No,
Some of this,
It's an open fire. It's got a grate.
I think
The logs are sitting
Just
in
a
the
small
grate.
swick.
There's ashes going through down below. We're talking. There's 3 or 4 large logs and kind of heat across the room. Are you gonna put your hand in there?
Maybe not.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going to pull out. There must be some fire irons.
Yes, there are.
I'll get a fire iron and just poke a few logs and just see what happens.
Oh yeah, they move just as you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. There's resistance as you push. They move. There's a crackle. There's sparks. Everything
So
is
while that's all going on, I'll very quickly look over to the cigar.
very interesting call. So at that point, the cigar is just sitting there smoldering. It's not, doesn't appear it's doing anything.
Does it appear as real as it was?
Let's make an intelligence check.
Alright, so
Good job
so
with
we've gone out to the edge of the estate,
We all
off
make-
the estate, and then we've walked back onto the estate.
Okay.
Maybe 5 minutes has elapsed.
Okay. Let's
And then
get
we've
there
gone
roll
back to the
really
front
quick.
door.
Are we all
Yeah.
doing an intelligence?
We're not presumably.
The people who looked back over at the cigar to see.
I'm following him.
Yeah.
So you've whispered to each other.
There's
Have
a
you told them what you're
legit-
thinking?
Well,
yeah,
I can,
I'm thinking
I
between
saw
the
it.
3 of us,
We
one,
saw it.
one stares at the cigar, one stares at the fire,
Okay.
and was there something else in here that was a bit peculiar?
There was the bust that looked a little bit
by
weird.
the way,
Yeah.
by the way-
Were there any lamps
way,
or
look.
lights?
There
or
are
anything?
lamps.
Look at this.
Yeah, are they lit?
Yes.
Okay, maybe one looks
Smart.
at the lamps.
Don't look at this.
So
If we're all staring hard at them and
See,
once you have talked
Yeah.
amongst yourselves about
No,
what you're
quiet.
planning to
it's
do,
like
quietly,
45
then everything
down
appears
on that
normal.
one.
Mm.
Very good.
But he's only
We
more
doing an
strength and
intelligence roll?
constitution.
Nope, you don't need
Yeah, you're gonna
it.
tell me
Everything's
later.
good.
Everything looks normal.
Yes.
But I am certain that it wasn't before.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes,
you guys
entry,
are
yes.
heading back?
So when we
Yeah.
get back into the
Do you
lounge,
think we should-
as I say, we'll just let ourselves in the
Sorry.
front door. When we get back into the lounge,
Okay.
we'll compare.
Hang on. Before we do that,
Mhm.
I'm gonna casket. It did something weird when we were in there.
We
You
have
say-
that conversation
you say
once
this-
we're off the estate.
Yeah.
Off the estate.
Should we
Okay.
try and find somewhere to hide it before we actually go back in?
No, I think keep hold of it. That's got to be safer.
Right, okay.
Hmm.
Keep it
Yeah.
close.
Okay.
We want it inside the tent with us pissing
You do-
outwards.
You do know the GM is tucking his beard, so that tells me that I'm fucked.
It's all good. It's all good.
Keep it secret. Keep it
Okay.
safe.
And remember, we have to
But
kill
the
Felix's
huge
character by
bulge on-
6:30.
No, it's because I'm a hunchback.
Not Felix's character. Felix's character's his sidekick.
Ah.
Although he doesn't have a sidekick at this.
Monkey.
No.
He doesn't have he has no monkey. He has
Yeah,
no
so when we go back in,
familiar, he has no.
when we go back in, do I notice if anybody's
Goodness.
actually been drinking the chamomile tea? Because I remember something whilst I was out in the
Has
stagecoach.
anyone had any tea?
I haven't. No. I'm
I've
suspicious.
poured myself a cup, but I haven't actually had any of it yet. It's
Okay.
was a little too hot. when I poured it
I've
first.
I've smelt it and sipped like a small sip.
Seems like tea.
So, as we come back in,
I'm going to dose their
We
cups
just-
with the alcohol.
we're just.
Okay.
I don't say anything to him. Just walk over and
Mm-hmm.
produce my
Okay.
watch and
Your watches say the exact same time.
Good.
As you had set them.
have you learned any more? Clink. Away.
It is interesting.
Indeed.
Now tell me, have you ever been to a fine art gallery? Have you noticed how when they paint a portrait, they focus very heavily on the main subject, and the background is more loosely figured?
Having been a subject of such things, yes.
Yes. No, I just find it interesting how they play with the psychology of people by focusing their attention on the important details.
One would have to be paying attention to have noticed anything wrong with such a picture.
Exactly, yes. And of course, if the painter, I mean, that's ridiculous, but if the painter could do such a thing, they might go back and paint in more detail where the
Where the-
viewer,
Perhaps where the eye falls?
yes.
I believe it was the Renaissance period that they started doing that. Before that time,
So-
everybody was so much more honest and open.
So are there books or anything on the shelves in the
There are
room?
some books, but they're not too. They're not exciting.
What are they?
So what you've got in here are a number of novels.
Okay, so I'm going to grab the nearest novel and I'm going to open it quickly,
Okay.
about
Quickly.
two-thirds of the way through, and see if I can read it.
Interesting. So the novel is dated probably in the 1870s. Appears to be about some smugglers, and as you're flipping through it, it doesn't quite. You're flipping from page to page to look at the writing. The story itself struggles to keep form and character, in that the words on the page are firm and there. But as you flip from chapter to chapter, there's disconnects that you immediately detect.
I'm going to share that with people. And,
How do you share that?
this book isn't following the laws of natural spirits, of natural physics.
Okay.
So I think
I strongly believe that we may not be in the same realm as we were.
The door opens. A man stands at the door. He looks just like the bust and like people in the pictures. Ah, welcome.
Augustus! So
Do
good
we-
to meet you.
Ah, Good to meet you too. Do I know you?
Sir, you do not. Let me introduce myself. I am Henry de Haviland. I believe that you may have had a passing acquaintance with my father.
Yes, absolutely. What a man.
Indeed, indeed, sir.
I greatly regretted his passing.
As did I, as you may imagine. But it is
Oh no. He's going
it is wonderful to meet you finally, at last. And I am so pleased that we were able to partake, even in a small way, of your hospitality here. Thank you for inviting us
Least we
in.
can do. So Augustus Wayland, he is slightly above average size. He's got well-tailored suit, pocket watch and chain hanging from his waistcoat. He's about maybe 60s, mid-60s range, with a graying beard and parted hair. Looks a little bit like this.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Bearded.
A little bit of a Sigmund Freud going on there.
Yes.
I know.
Put some
I'm
glasses on.
trying
It
to
looks just
not
like
show you everyone at once,
Yeah.
but yes.
I can't read at that range anyway, so it's fine.
Okay.
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 Well, does he look like? I mean, he presumably looks like the portrait we saw at the Athari
Yes.
Club. Does he look exactly like the picture we saw at the Athari
Yes. Well, I mean, as far as paintings go.
Did you know you've got?
Anyway, Augustus Wayland's in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, I was asking the question about his age because I'm trying to see if he looks exactly the same as his portrait in the Athari Club in terms of age.
No.
Being that the portrait was
No,
done
he's
years before.
he's about a decade or so older.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah.
Where in the portrait of the Athari Club, he stands resolutely, just not in the foreground, but just in the background. His arm draped loosely over the young lady with him, and his beard is much less gray. In that you're trying to remember that back, and that's a task in itself to pull that back, but you do, and he looks very much like he does in the latest picture of him with the young girl. Maybe a little bit older than that. Yes.
Where's Henry?
Two guys together.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out.
With you.
Yeah,
So I've stepped forward to.
So you step forward and you're in direct. So in which case, I don't lean into Henry. I lean the other way and go. Why are we here again? And I
So,
whisper it very, very quietly.
so I'm going to step up to him, and what I want to do is I want to shake his hand. And
Okay.
when I
Grip your
shake his
hand.
hand, I want
Then
to give myself. I want to use that to give an impression of just to try and see if I can read a little bit about his health, his strength. You know, does he grip me feebly? Does he grip me with a great deal of strength? Is that strength indicative of the man? You know, I'm just trying to read a little bit about his body language and his physique. I want to know whether he's well, he's more well than I would expect. I mean, I'm a young man,
Got it.
right? And he is not.
Okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily expect him to be quite as vital.
So let me think through that just really quickly for how this responds. So he feels healthy,
I don't know whether that,
wealthy, and wise.
right.
He doesn't hesitate as he reaches out to grip your hand in a firm but not unpleasant handshake.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm not trying to squeeze him or
No.
squash him or anything like that. I'm just trying
Absolutely.
to, give him a reasonable shake of the hand.
Welcome to my home. How I hear that you had some vehicular mishap on your arrival.
Indeed we did, sir. Indeed we did. We have, unfortunately, during the storm last night, we had a coming together with the side of the road in a way that was most unexpected, which has caused some damage to our steam carriage. And should you have any spares or otherwise, and certainly a man who might be able to examine our vehicle, we would really appreciate your help in that regard.
Very good.
However, we will understand if that's not possible.
I'll ask Jeremiah if he can take you to the carriage house if that's maybe there's something there that could help. I'm not sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
We much appreciate it, and how fortunate it was that we were passing by.
Well, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming. You happened on a fortuitous night. We were having a dinner party tonight, so I hope that you will all stay for the party. So right now, dinner is being prepared, and Rosemary, our maid and our cook, does a very great porridge and actually, I'm talking breakfast. That's what I had earlier. She does a great dinner. Should be very good.
Oh, thank you.
And hopefully, when my daughter comes down, she'll also chat with you.
It would be a delight to meet with her.
Very good. The house is yours. Make yourselves at home. I'll be upstairs preparing, and we'll see you when the party starts.
May I inquire as to the nature of the event that you have been planning for?
Absolutely. We are.
Again, if I need to charm him, I will do.
He seems forthright on this. He says it's a very wonderful event in that my daughter is preparing for a ritual, an operation, so to speak. And she will be running this operation, and hopefully it will produce, and I don't expect you to believe these type of things, but a ethereal effect.
Well.
And we're very, very pleased that she's doing it, and we're all gathering to wish her well on the event.
Indeed, you may find me more receptive to such things than you would expect. And I don't know. I'm wearing a signet ring.
Okay.
Which denotes my membership of a particular esoteric order.
Very good.
And I don't stand in front of him and
As do
proffer it
I.
at him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what I
As do I,
do,
but mine's a different colour.
but what I do is I just simply stand and talk to him, and as I'm doing that, I'm circling the signet ring.
Got it.
So that if he's paying attention, he would potentially.
He glances down. He goes, "You'll be so happy to meet Lester Goodman tonight."
Indeed.
I
So,
look
you
at
know.
his face. Recognition?
I noticed the ring on Henry's hand and think that I'm sure I got one of those in a box of cereal.
No, you didn't. That's the
Very
one
good.
thing I can. Oh, the one thing I can tell you is that this is. Yeah. So okay. So just to let you guys all know.
John, you're slightly out of frame. If you can move towards
Oh,
Felix.
sorry.
There you
Okay.
go.
Getting closer. Come on.
That's
hug.
okay.
Hug.
So, yeah. So I'm actually a member of the Golden Dawn.
Oh, very interesting.
So as a member of the Golden Dawn, that's what the signet ring is for. So I'm a fully inducted member
Absolutely.
of the Golden Dawn. Now, obviously, that is, something that I'm not particularly. We don't talk about it, but you don't hide it either. It's one of those things.
It's a bit like Fight Club.
So
Yeah.
I am thinking that Sir Cecil does not know of this allegiance.
Right.
And you may be the first of your order to cross into the Athari Club.
I think I might be.
So that's a very interesting thing as well. Okay. So with that, he glide grips around the room as much as necessary and steps out.
Okay. So, I assume we're going to be shown to our rooms so we can get changed for dinner?
The door opens and Rosemary is back.
Mhm.
You can smell, as she opens the door, there's almost like stew or
Would you
something.
mind passing that to
This-
Felix?
this going.
Because he's drank my drink.
And she steps in. I know you're preparing yourselves for
Thanks, yeah. Need to
for
go up a little
the
bit.
dinner tonight. If I
bit more.
may show you to rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's perfect.
So she
Cheers, Henry.
she says we really don't have many rooms available, but if perhaps in the library you could make yourselves comfortable there.
I can sleep on a book as well as any man.
Is
I-
there
Show me to the
some-
The
library.
gentleman can, but
I would find the library very interesting.
Okay.
Accommodation must be made for
Absolutely.
Lady Lynette.
I'll be glad to take Lady Lynette upstairs while you gather in the library.
Could you, would you mind, do you have a room where I could perhaps wash and prepare?
Get your
for dinner?
hands off Lady Lynette. She's with me.
Absolutely.
At the very least, we need to dress for dinner.
Come on, let's go down to
Yes.
the library. Let's
To
explore
make
the
some
books.
changes to
Absolutely. Upstairs, there is a water closet that you may use, sir.
right, a large enough
Yes.
bathroom. Good.
So,
You know, when I was a young man, I had to walk 15 miles to the closest lake so I could
so
get
anyway,
refreshed.
lead you out
That's a
and
long
first
walk.
to the library,
Damn straight.
Mm-hmm.
Found it more useful at
which
the,
is
at the
is Wayland. Mahogany bookcases. Expensive collection of books, most of which leather-bound, occult, theology, history, philosophy. Some books lie open on the central reading table, surrounded by comfortable chairs. All are open to passages.
I'm straight into the history, and I'm looking up anything that James might have wrote,
Okay,
just to see if
feel
we
free.
made it into the to this library.
For those of you that
Perhaps
look,
you might,
chance-
I should be flattered by your
you might
obsession.
perhaps
So
perform the
You
same
should be.
operation. as
Rosemary
you
tries
did
to
before.
draw you away, Lynette,
Oh.
to go upstairs.
No, I've actually intervened, and I said no. She's with me in the library. Thank you very much. We have a
okay.
combined interest in books and literature.
Very
So-
very well. As long as you're satisfied, sir. Would you like to go?
Oh, I'll
Indeed.
make sure that the
Okay.
Lady Lynette is
So
very
she starts
satisfied.
leading upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
You, as you're glancing, let's make a library use roll.
What? So we're doing.
There's a
looking at
roll
books.
to this yet?
There's a roll
So-
for this.
So obviously that gives me access to upstairs.
Yes,
Wow.
it does.
That is a.
And I'll
We'll come back to
get
that.
there.
I don't know. What
There's
is
only four
what is a
people in this
1/5?
Ooh.
No, we know of at least.
I can't even find a book.
Yes, you rolled a 2.
Wow. Well done.
I'm in there.
10.
I'm
I'm
in
just
there.
going through the names to see if there's anyone that I know.
That's a good roll.
Yeah.
Well
Convocation's
done.
high, by the way, so-
On that.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
what I'll see
That's
Is
super hard, impossible.
the books themselves, as you're looking through them, are open to passages discussing descriptions of angels in all the 3 Abrahamic religions. The 9 choirs of angels for Catholicism, the visual messengers of Protestantism. Anyway, the Malachim of Judaism. That's easier that came off my tongue than the other,
Did quite well.
as I'm Protestant myself. Anyway, and the Malachim, well, spelled slightly differently for Islam.
Mhm.
So those are open to those locations. And as you look around the books, there are some gaps here and there. And because of your high roll, you notice that the 3 holy books are not here. Neither the Torah, the Bible, or the Quran are in the room. Okay. You also notice that there is a lead sculpture of an eagle attached to the back of a lectern facing out of the west window.
Facing out again.
I'm going to go and check it, see if there's an arcane symbol.
Interestingly, there happens to be a symbol, and I will show it to you shortly.
When you find it.
You're shortly.
And by shortly,
Yeah.
sort of shortly, we'll get there.
Yeah, don't call me shortly.
We'll get there.
And I'm sorry if I keep dodging out of the way of the camera. It's just that I'm just fussing these.
So this is what they're going to see,
Wow. Okay.
and I'll pass this way because
Thank you.
don't look on the back, please.
Look on the back. I dare you.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
I'll drink 2 fingers worth of whatever it is I'm drinking. Go on, do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
interesting, huh?
The library. I mean, in terms of orientation to the bust in
So
the living room, is it a different cardinal direction?
it is. So whereas the lounge faced directly out one direction, the library is off this direction.
Okay. So the lounge was facing south, north, east.
You're thinking that the lounge was facing what, west, and the library's maybe north.
Okay.
Oh shit, man, I can't see that for shit.
As a man of science, not that I don't, believe in these things, but I am acquainted with the
Yes, the beliefs of the
beliefs of the many
Absolutely.
cultures that I have visited.
very good.
Like a saggy.
It actually looks like a knight.
There we go. As it comes around,
Do I recognise it?
John, you see this. I mean, they as you're leaving the room, that you're drawn. Your eyes are drawn to that. As they told you about it.
So that was made of lead. What was the bust made of?
So the bust was made of lead too. Thank you.
It's interesting material to make a bust of.
Yes. Normally
Yes.
bronze.
Well, very soft.
Mm.
Okay. So,
I'm just going to try something.
what are you gonna do?
The lectern, is it attached to the floor?
It is on wheels. It will slide.
Just turn it.
Are you? You're gonna turn it around?
I'm just going to turn it around.
Okay. Very good. Let's turn around.
Okay. I'm going to leave it like that.
Okay. Very, very good.
Do I recognise the horse shape?
The what?
The horse shaped rune that's on the centre of the eagle.
So
I mean, it looks
what I
like
will
it's
tell
an
you
old.
is it looks like possibly a code that would be used with like a grid of letters that maybe would go through. You've seen that in certain writings through the years. I'll tell you that now. Okay. John. So upstairs, as you come to the top of the stairs, there's a small door off to your left that's the water
It's amazing
closet.
what goes in here and goes
She
out.
says there's a bedroom. She says that's the main bedroom straight ahead. And then there are 2 doors that she says, please don't bother those. That's where the operation's going to be.
Well, now. It would be so impolite, wouldn't it?
Are you in the library? You're in the library, though, aren't you?
I'm everywhere. No, I'm in the library.
Yeah.
So I thank her and I head into the bathroom and close the door behind me
Okay.
with an emphatic clunk. But
Okay.
in doing so,
Clunk.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to just listen out to see whether it squeaks.
There is no squeak. But I will say that the hairs on the back of your neck stand.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that time when the lion was creeping over the brow of the hill and you were facing slightly away and you just knew and you turned in time.
So, I am going to change and wash for dinner. So I will do.
No.
Oh, we're not there yet.
What do you do when you feel that back of your neck?
Is that as as I close the door?
After you close the door, clunk, and then whoop.
So something behind me,
Probably
the other side of the door.
no.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
Okay. It's a bit sort of Old West gunfighter style in that my coat goes back, my hand goes to my pistol at my hip, and I whip round into the room, and basically in a crouch I'm ready.
The room itself is about half the size of what we're sitting in, so about 5-6 feet across. There is a commode, which exists. John,
Yes.
as you turn Henry, and you see the commode. There's a linen curtain across a tub that stands on feet. It's sort of a circular. And then there's a washstand with a mirror. In the mirror, very briefly, you see something that looks like that.
So pretty.
And then it's gone.
I think I dated it.
Right. Back up against the door. So my
Okay.
back's against the door. So
I am
can
going to make a sanity check. I'm going to let you do it at advantage. So you may roll 2 of the 10-sided dice and only 1 of the 1's digit, if you so choose, because of some of your experiences.
Well, let's just roll it base first, and then we can.
Okay.
He is
Very good.
an impressive.
So where's my sanity?
Who?
So
Probably you, young lady.
yes, that would be 51, and my
What's the
sanity
chicken
is
roast, mate?
56 at the present time.
Very good.
So
Okay. So you're good.
Do you want to put them?
it's shocking, and
It's
I'm shocked
shocking.
by it.
Yes, but it does
But I
not.
managed to stabilise. Calm
Yes.
myself down. So
Good.
I'm banged up against the door, and I'm looking at where the mirror is pointing to.
Okay.
All right.
House.
So the idea is
Just right
to
across the wall.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is to look at where the positioning would have been in the room for the mirror.
So it's longer than it is. Well, I mean, it's fairly square room. It does have some stairs in the corner, which is a little bit weird. But the mirror actually goes straight back to the wall. On the
So
other
can I
side.
see myself in the mirror at this point?
Yes, you can.
Right.
No, it's just,
You look
I
pale.
think it's a.
I'm not surprised.
Mhm.
That was shocking.
Yes.
But I'm breathing.
Yes.
Take my hand off my weapon and let my coat fall back across my leg. What I'm doing is I'm establishing where that thing would have been in the room where.
And there, on a bit of a cliffhanger, we have to end it this evening, as unfortunately our audio went out. And we're learning a lot about our audio as we go along, and hope to suppress some of the computer fan noise and things like that that are so irritating. Anyway, Henry de Havilland checked around the mirror and found that it doesn't really come off the wall easily, and there's probably nothing behind it before thinking about returning to join the others in the library. Meet us back next time, once I get another video edited. Thank you so much.